Hey guys, welcome back. This is Keira's birth story. I have been trying to film this all day, so you're gonna have to bear with me on this one because Keira is like stirring. I did feed her, so hopefully she calms down and just stays asleep. I've set myself up in the corner to try and be away from Keira, but I can still see him playing over there, so hopefully he just hangs out over there with his diggers while we get through this. Anyhow, Keira was born on the 27th of November, and on the 26th of December, I was definitely having some signs of early labour. Like, this whole video is going to be TMI, but now that I've told you that, you can switch off if you're not interested in some details. But if not, here you go. So on Friday, the day before she was born, I was having some sharp pains into my butthole. And not pleasant at all. And I was like, what the heck? So I was messaging one of my friends, Melinda, if you're watching this, and she said, that's what happened to me before I had my son. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, because that did not happen to me with Cooper or with Keira. So yeah, so that was something new. So yeah, I had the little shooting pains in my butt, and I was just so uncomfortable. Like, all of my lower tummy was just aching. I could barely lift my right leg at this point, and I was thinking it's like, oh, Keira's pushed up against one of my nerves or something, or I'm 35 weeks pregnant now. It's possible that it's just because I've never made it this far, it's all my muscles and tendons stretching out to make space for her to grow. So I just kept on like making excuses for everything. But I did message my midwife, and I did say to her, hey, I hope you're like working this weekend, because like things are just happening, and I'd like want that reassurance that you're actually going to be on this weekend in case anything happens. Thankfully, yes, it was her weekend on, so that was awesome. Friday night, I actually slept really well. It was like the best sleep I'd had in a few weeks. So the next day, Ethan wanted to go to Palmerston to buy himself a bucket hat, and because it was the day before my birthday, he also wanted to go and buy me a present. And I was like, I don't need anything, so I'd already bought myself some presents. So I was like, oh, well, me and Keira want to hang out with you. You've been at work all week, so like we're gonna tag along. Went with him. Plaza packed out, so I had to park on the outside of the plaza, so that's like a decent walk away. Finally like walked our way in there, almost missed the pedestrian, so I like ran, skip hopped across the road, which shouldn't have done that, but I was like, I didn't want to miss the pedestrian crossing and then stand there for another like couple minutes. Very impatient of me. Finally got into the plaza. It was packed as inside, like lines outside the door of stores. Yeah, like did our shopping. Ethan bought his bucket hat, and then I was like, yeah, like I'm not too keen to be here. I feel sick, I'm a bit sore, like let's leave. Ended up quickly going to Rebel Sport. Again, had to like park out the back, do a little walk into Rebel Sport, walked around, couldn't find the shoes that I wanted for Keira because they were all sold out. Keira and Ethan were pretty hungry, so we went to McDonald's, got some food, parked up to eat, and I felt sick the whole time. Like, I was not enjoying it. I was like, and if you know me, like, I love my food. I finish my McDonald's every time. Could not do it. I had a quarter pounder combo, and couldn't do it. Could not finish it. I just felt so sick, and I was like, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm sore. Like, I would love to go home. We finally did the 40-minute drive home. Got home. As soon as I got home, started having tightenings. Straight away. As soon as we get home, tightenings. I was like, what the heck? After about 6 tightenings, they weren't very painful, but after 6 of them, I was like, okay, like something's going on. Ended up ringing my midwife and like asking, can you please check me because something's happening. Of course, I have to be checked up in Palmerston at the actual hospital. I can't do it in just the maternity here because it's small, and if anything were to happen, they can't actually really do much. So have to be checked at Palmerston. So I had to drive back. My mum drove me up there because Ethan was feeling a little bit sick. So I was like, oh, you just sleep and rest, because if anything happens, I'll just ring you. And then like at least you'll be rested to come up and help me out, or just be with me. It's not much help he could have offered, really. Going back to Palmerston, got to the hospital, and I was on my little pregnancy app, like doing the contraction tracker thing, and they were like every 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, and I was like, what the heck? Like Braxton Hicks possibly, because they were so sporadic, and they were starting to get a little bit more painful, but they weren't really much. They were just like a little niggling. When we got to the hospital, you go to the back to get into maternity, and you can like push a little button and speak to them to let you in. And we requested a wheelchair. No one came with a wheelchair, and I was like, man, I want to get up there and be checked. Like, I'm starting to get a little bit more sore. All of the wheelchairs at the bottom of the lift, all were padlocked. Because she was like, yeah, just grab one. There's already one down there. No, there wasn't. They were all padlocked. Yeah, got upstairs finally, and seen my midwife in the corridor and just started crying straight away. My room was the very last one, the end of the corridor. I had to waddle down there. Finally got to the room, got on the bed. My midwife checked me, put the CTG monitor on, and it was picking up like little tiny blips, little tiny boop, like there's something happening, little tiny contractions. So my midwife put the speculum in and did an examination. She said she couldn't find the stitch, like that she couldn't see it. And then she removed the speculum, and on removal, like there was like a little, like I felt like, if I thought the amniotic fluid was slowly leaking out or something, because some discharge came out, and I was like, okay. Got up to go toilet because I wanted a urine sample, and turned around and there was like a little puddle on the bed, and I was like, is that amniotic fluid? So like they'd done the amnio test thing that they like hold in there for a minute and test, and that had come back negative, that I like the hormone hadn't been released, that I was in labor. And I was like, can that be incorrect sometimes? Because I honestly feel like I'm in labor. And she was like, oh, not really. I was like, okay. So these were all like really discouraging things. Like, just didn't, I felt like I was in my own head about everything that was going on and everything I was feeling. Went toilet, wiped, and there was a bit of like mucus on the toilet paper, and I was like, okay. Looks like the mucus plug, but at the same time I've been putting progesterone up there every night, 2 little pills, so it could just be that. Like I knew better. It definitely was like the mucus plug. Got back on the bed, the doctor came in, she said, okay, we've done your bloods, we've done your urine sample and stuff, like we'll just wait for those to come back, because it could just be irritable uterus. Like if you have a UTI or something, or an infection, it could just be sending these signals to your uterus, and you've got irritable uterus, blah, blah, blah. And so again, I like started crying, because I was like, what the heck, like this, look, I feel like I'm in labor. And all of these things being said to me sounds like they don't believe me, or that like I'm not, like my body's tricking me or something. And this has happened with each of my babies, each of my labours. So she also did a speculum and said everything, she found the stitch and she said it's all tightly closed. There's still cervical length, and yeah, and that she doesn't really think I'm in labour. And so my midwife was like, oh, okay, well, like, I don't want Brittany to go home. I'd like her to stay here a few hours, and we'll just see if anything progresses or if anything happens. And I was like, happy to do so, because I knew something was going on. I said to the doctor, can I have a bath? Like, my back is aching. I would love a bath. And she said, yes, you can have a bath, but you need to get out as soon as anything starts happening. If you have more pains, you need to get out. And I was like, yeah, it's sweet as. I just love a bath, because I'm not ever going to get to have a water bath. So I filled this bath up. Well, my mum actually filled this bath up, and it was lovely. I loved it. Took some photos in there. So my last ever pregnancy photos are in this big ass comfortable bath. It's a nice bath. It's sad I never get to birth in them. While I was in the bath, I was in there for about 40 minutes, and all of a sudden there's like a pop. Like it was a pop inside my tummy, and it felt like a pop, but also like a jab from her. And I was like, what the heck? And I'm like, Mum, like, can you come in here? I think my water just broke. Stood up slowly thinking like, oh, something's going to happen. Like something's going to fall out. Nothing. Not even a drip of amniotic fluid. Nothing. And I was like, okay, that's where that was my water breaking, but all right. Started having another contraction. Because they are contractions. They were no longer, at this point, I was not thinking that these were Braxton Hicks anymore. Like this here was a contraction. And I was looking at my mum, and I was like expressing to her, like, there is no way this is Braxton Hicks. Like, if this is Braxton Hicks, I need some pain relief. Like, this is ridiculous. She went and rang the bell for a doctor to come and assess me. I stood up, bam, strong contraction again. And I was like, whoa, like, oh my God, started crying. Because I was like, it's shock. I didn't actually think I was going to the hospital to have a baby that day. I just thought I was going to get checked and probably be put on bed rest, and I was a bit gutted because like it was my birthday the next day, and I was like, okay, another year in hospital for my birthday. But after that contraction, there was literally another contraction like 10 seconds later, and I said to my mum, I was like, oh man, I feel like I need to poop. And I know that is also a sign of labour, but I was saying to her, like, no, don't call the doctors yet, because I want to sit on the toilet and try and poop because I feel like I need to poop. Which, when you need to poop when you're in labour, it's literally because the baby's head is down there pushing on the bowel. So big sign that your baby's like down there and engaged and stuff, and like you're ready to like start being in labour or whatever. Sorry, my English is not very great at the moment. I'm very tired. So managed to crawl out of the bathtub, sat on the toilet. The doctor walked in the room and was like, okay, so we need to get you onto the bed so that we can check you. And I was like, yep, sweet as. Like, was having another contraction, so I just needed a moment. Walked over to the bed, she put the speculum in, bang, waters, gone. And she looked at me and she's like, that's what waters feel like breaking. No, honey, they had definitely broken on the inside. And then when you put the speculum in, you've like allowed, because everything was so tightly closed from that friggin' stitch, you've allowed that little opening, and it was able to come out. It definitely broke in the bath. That feeling, like there's no other way to explain it. Like that was a pop in my belly. As the waters broke, she was like to her little helper, so she was like, okay, get me the scissors now, the stitch needs to be removed right now. She gives you some stitch. She gives you some scissors, and she's like, is there any longer scissors? I'm like, oh my God, like how deep does she go? How deep did they go this time? Because the other time was just like a little tiny stitch. I'm gonna insert a picture of the stitch. Hopefully, maybe skip 10 seconds or something, because there is blood in this photo. Yeah, so that's what the stitch looked like. Mind blown. I did not know that was inside my body that whole time. So that stitch held on for 21 weeks to get her to 35 weeks. Like, it done a great job. As soon as it was out, I dilated to 3 centimeters, and hearing her say that I was 3 centimeters, I was gutted, actually. I was quite gutted. I felt defeated. I was like, I'm in so much pain. There's no way that I'm making it to 10 centimeters without more pain relief. Like, gas is not going to cut it. I would like an epidural. I don't want the epidural. Like, let's be honest. I did not want it. I've had it twice with getting the stitch placed. And apparently they're different epidurals, but no, I don't want it. And I also know for myself, when I'm asking for more pain relief, it's because I'm in so much pain, because I'm ready to get the baby out. Like, it is go time. But hearing 3 centimeters just puts you back so much. You're like, what? My body's worked so hard, and that's it? 3 centimeters? Because you're not actually in active labor until you're 4 centimeters. So I felt sad. But then also I felt shocked, because it's like, holy moly, it is go time. Like, we are having a baby today. Shocked. And I kept saying it to my midwife. I was like, I'm in shock. I'm in shock. There's a baby coming out. And so the stitch was removed 3 centimeters. My mum rang Ethan. There was no sense of urgency on the phone call, so Ethan dawdled his way up and unfortunately missed her birth by 10 minutes, which is very sad. I feel like that's always going to be sad. His last baby, well, my last baby, who knows about him? No. Our last baby and his first daughter, our first daughter, and yeah, he unfortunately missed it just by 10 minutes. Because yeah, on the phone call, my mum, she did not say like, get here ASAP or anything. She was sort of like, oh yeah, like, take your time. So he did just that. To check me, I was like, I would like to be checked, because I was told I was 3 centimeters. My midwife checked me and goes, okay, well, I can't feel cervix, but I can feel baby's head. And I was like, oh, there it is. Like, that is the sign. That is go time. That is, yes, I can push. Because I was like, can I push? Can I push? Someone check me, I want to push. Because I felt that urge was there. So yeah, so stitch was removed at 18 minutes past 6, and Keira was born at 22 minutes past 7. So an hour and 5 minutes. That actually is an hour and 4 minutes, if my math is correct. So maybe it was 6:17. Anywho, an hour and 5 minutes is apparently how long it took me to have her. And in that hour and 5 minutes, I was rolling on the bed. I was like, holy moly, this is as like the worst pain, and I'm guessing it's because I've never really had to contract with the boys, because sort of like the stitch came out with Keira and boom, 10 centimeters straight away, and then 9 minutes later he was born. Whereas with her, I still had to do that whole hour of labouring and like working her way down there or something. Like I'm pretty sure she was already down there, but it just took that long, which confusion. I got onto my knees and the midwife had her arm under my leg trying to like find her heartbeat, and as I had a contraction I sat down and I was literally just squashing her arm in between my butt cheek and my leg, and she was like, can you get up, like you're on me? I did not respond. No ma'am, I'm in the middle of a contraction, there's no way I'm getting up. After finishing the contraction, got back up, fine, there's your arm. She couldn't get a good read of Keira's heartbeat in that position, so I had to flip back over onto my back, and once I'd done that, I feel like that's where like the real pushing started. And this is very embarrassing, but I'm really interested to know if other people done this. I peed, like the whole time I was pushing her out, I peed. I just couldn't stop. It's like a little water feature for her to view as she came out. I just couldn't stop weeing. And I was saying to the midwife, oh, I'm weeing. And she's like, yeah, but it's fine, it's fine. Did not do that with either of the boys. But for her, here you go, my daughter, here's a little water feature for you. Like I didn't poop with any of them either, so that's an achievement in itself. Once Keira came out, I had this plan that she would come out, and because she's big enough, she's a good gestation, she'd come out and she'd come straight onto my chest, and we'd have this lovely mum-daughter moment, and we'd just gaze into each other's eyes, and it would be lovely. So what actually happened is she came out, she came onto me, she let out this reassuring little cry, and then she held her breath. And just did not cry again, held her breath, and I was like freaked out, and I pushed her basically back to my midwife, like, no, you need to take her, she needs help. I'll insert a little clip now. Oh my god. Yeah, no, take her. So yeah, so you see there, I had to cut it a little bit short because as soon as she's lifted, you can see all of my stuff. So you even see my hand, I touched her, and I didn't realize how sticky that white stuff is. I can't think of what it's called, but that white stuff that's on them. Touched her, so sticky. I had planned to like rub her or stroke her or something. Touched her and my hand just stuck to her. I was like, ugh, okay, no, gross. So definitely not the moment that I had pictured in my head at all, because I was just scared for her. I was like, no, I need her to like have some assistance. They took her off me, put her on the... It's nice sitting feeling I'm so glad it was the last time. Oh my
What are you after?
No matter how
Just for the work. Just for the...
it's painful or anything, it's so fucking sore.
There we go. Let me up a bit.
So total at 7:25.
What time was you do?
22 past.
When you're ready, we'll bring the mask that you've already got. And shall I just unhook here?
Yeah, just unhook there.
Alright, I'm just going to close this one. Would you like me to hold that one on?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay, alright.
Wrangle our
Mask on her, and at this point I'm pretty sure it's when Ethan came in the door, and yeah, so she was still on the little table having oxygen. The placenta was still trying to come out of me. Ethan walked in the door, we locked eyes, and I was just like, there's your daughter. And he just obviously shocked. He did not expect to be walking in, the baby already be here, and there's just blood everywhere, obviously. Then you go with Keira to the neonates. He went with them, and he said he held her hand the whole time that she was like getting all this stuff sorted out, getting checked. He was just had a little finger in there, and she was holding on to it, and that her eyes were open, and she was looking around all curious. So I thought that was pretty sweet. So he did miss the birth, but like he got that cute moment with her. I was back still in a lot of pain. Birthed the placenta, had to still be like checked out. They had to check for tears, grazes, whatever. Luckily didn't tear, thankfully. Did not tear just had grazing on each labia and bruising, so not too bad at all. You have to do like a check. Like I had to get up and I had to pass urine. I was shaking like a mad woman. I just could not stop shaking and I was so sore. Her whole labour was so much more painful than the other two. I feel like I bounced back so quickly after the boys, especially. So Cooper, I got straight off that bed, showered, bang, easy peasy. Keira had to stay on the bed for longer because I'd lost a bit of blood, so they had to like hook me up to stuff and treat me. Keira, I was just shaking uncontrollably. Everything hurt. So different. And I feel like I joked to myself that because she's a girl, like this is gonna be the kid that like comes out and like has her little nails out and like claws the whole way out. Kind of felt like she did that. So I probably jinxed myself. Yeah, so finally got into the shower and I stood in the shower for so long because I was just like, it's comfort. For me, the water is comforting. Just trying to pee and I just could not pee because I'd peed so much on the bed already. I'm gonna go and see your baby, but I already knew like there's no way with me in the state that I was in, there's no way that I could even like pay him much attention because I was so sore. Still in a lot of shock and I had to pass urine first. And so my midwife kept handing me cups of water while I was in the shower so that I would pee, and I forced myself to pee. Finally got out of the shower and got dressed. I think at that point they like gave me something like anti-D. I was wheeled around to see Keira, and because of COVID you're only allowed one person in there, so like I went in and Ethan had to come out and I was like, that was pretty sad. Got to see Keira. So I got moved upstairs after hanging out with Keira for a little bit. I still felt pretty bad, so I was like, okay, like I need to be wheeled back to my room, please. Went back to my room and was just sore. So sore. I actually popped some tramadols that night and yeah, grateful. I had my beautiful daughter, healthy, happy, and I've done it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!